Hello, everyone. Welcome back to PLG Disrupt. We are so happy to have you with us today as well. We are here with the amazing Alexa Grabell, CEO of Pocus, who is going to talk about what else, product-led sales, and how to add it to your sales motion. Alexa, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So I'm going to leave you to it. Enjoy, guys. She's one of a kind. I can guarantee you that.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. And good morning, or I guess good afternoon, good evening to people in a bunch of different places. My name is Alexa. I am the founder and CEO of Pocus. Pocus is a product-led sales platform. So what we do is we help sales teams at PLG companies convert their best self-serve users to high-value customers. So today we're going to be talking about the 5 steps to layer sales on top of your PLG motion. So the agenda for today, first we're going to talk about what even is product-led sales, a bit of a new term so we can help walk you through it, why you should care about product-led sales, which I abbreviate as PLS, and my 5-ish steps for executing on a PLS strategy. So as a lot of people on this call can probably resonate, the old school ways of enterprise sales is dead. There's no longer the days where you're taking someone out for a steak dinner, trying to sell them on the value of a product before they even get to touch the product. Chasing cold leads that have never heard about you, never used your product, and having that aggressive sell is over because it's inefficient for both the buyer and the seller. It's also, frankly, a bit of annoying. So any traditional sales reps on the call can probably resonate with that as well. So enter this new category of product-led sales. Product-led sales is an end-user focused sales model that leverages self-serve users as the primary funnel for sales. So what this means is in your product-led growth motion, you have a really strong flywheel of users already engaging and signing up and using and loving your product. And so you're in a really good spot to layer sales on top because your funnel becomes users that already know about you, love you. We call them product qualified leads, PQLs, which we will dive into later in the presentation. And so a quick before and after of the old world versus the new world. On the left is the days of traditional enterprise selling, where you're flying blind, you're having that aggressive hard sell, and you're adding friction. You're getting in the way of the salesperson just buying. And so how the process works, top of the funnel, you have a bunch of cold leads. You wonder, should I engage? You're trying to figure out, what should be the best message that I reach out to? And you waste a lot of time chasing the wrong accounts. This ends up increasing CAC, lowering ARR. In this new world of product-led sales, you have full visibility into user behavior. So you can understand based on actions in the product when to engage. And you can pick out the best opportunities easily from your existing pipeline and have the right message at the right time. So we actually at Pocus took on the challenge to understand really what is going on with the world of PLG today and PLS. And so we did a survey of over 200 PLG companies to figure out data such as what describes your go-to-market motion. And I'll give you one kind of teaser stat into some of what we learned. We'll be publishing this data in early 2022. But something really interesting is we asked PLG companies what best describes your go-to-market motion. Because oftentimes there's kind of this theory that when you have PLG, you don't need sales. And this proves completely opposite. So only 2% of PLG companies, 2.6%, said that they're not going to hire a sales team. Whereas already over half, 55%, have PLG plus a sales team. 12% said, we're PLG, don't have a sales team just yet because that flywheel is not up and running, but we have plans to add one. And finally, in the bottom, the 30% are traditional sales-led companies that are moving to product-led sales. So hopefully now I convinced you that product-led sales is really important. So now we can talk about the fun stuff, how to actually do it. So today we're going to talk about the 5 steps for laying sales on top of your PLG motion. And these 5 steps which I'll go into details, are first, getting your self-serve flywheel up and running. Second, getting buy-in. This is important, getting cross-functional buy-in across many stakeholders in your PLG organization. Third, it's setting up your PQLs, which I referenced before, product qualified leads. Fourth, it's hiring the PLS squad. And 5, putting your plan in action. So a lot of folks will ask me, when is the right time to add sales on top of your PLG motion? And this is pretty important to get it right. You don't want to add it too early because then it will probably be a little inefficient. You don't want to add it too late because then you already have the potential of going back to the old way of sales. And so what we say is you really want to get this self-serve flywheel up and running in your PLG motion before adding sales. And how do you know that you have your self-serve flywheel up and running? Some folks will give ARR metrics or headcount metrics to be kind of a good proxy for this. I actually like using more qualitative measures. So things like you'll see salesy requests or hand raisers more frequently. So your customers or users on your product that are reaching out, instead of saying simple things like, how do I reset my password? They're asking you things like, wow, I really want to have my other team on the product as well. How can we upgrade to the next tier? And then also you'll find that your customer-facing teams start acting like sales. So you'll have maybe marketers, product managers, growth teams, customer success, support, taking on that role of sales, of qualifying leads and getting them through the finish line. But when adding these humans to the process, adding salespeople, your motto should always be, you want to help and guide and consult. You never want to aggressively sell because that gets back to the old days. And we'll walk into that at length later. All right, next important step is getting cross-functional buy-in. So it is really, really important that you set expectations up front of implementing a product-led sales strategy. This is not just a set it and forget it. One day you wake up and you decide you're going to be product-led sales, whether you're layering sales on top of PLG or moving from traditional sales-led to PLG. This is a big company shift, which requires a lot of buy-in from folks across product, marketing, data, sales, customer success, support, etc. So we recommend going through strategy and outcomes and roadmaps and metrics. So with the full team and creating this one-page strategy doc or business case to really understand what the expectations are as a business. And so I will walk you through an example of what this could look like for your business. So we recommend putting together first, setting a hypothesis of what you want your PLS motion to, improve for your organization. Is this that you want to convert your self-serve users to paying customers? Do you want to have more expansion opportunities and identify new use cases? Do you want more quantitative measures, like you want to increase your conversion rate or decrease CAC? Put that at the top so that you're always measuring it. And then think about the objectives. Why are we doing product-led sales and what are our overall goals? And the strategy, how will we implement it? Who will the initial team be? The roadmap, what will we deliver in the first 30, then 60, 90 days, and what are the key milestones? The metrics, make sure to think about how will we measure success. And then finally, the cost. What is this going to cost us? Are we going to build internally? Or are we going to buy new tools to, empower the tech stack? And we have on our Pocus blog at pocus.com, we actually have this framework for you so you can download it and get going with your organization. And so one other thing that I mentioned is this big cultural shift. So this is not, now we have the one-page document of implementing sales, we're ready to go. This is really changing the mindset of folks in two ways. One, product-led growth companies are often in the mindset that our product sells ourselves. So now we have to rethink about how can we be a sales culture that is helping, not aggressively selling, or going the other way around from enterprise sales to product-led sales. That's also a cultural shift. So in doing this, there's new org structure, there's new roles and responsibilities, there's new sales compensation and processes and playbooks. So this requires consistent reinforcement and feedback loops. So we've seen teams do weekly, monthly, quarterly product-led sales feedback sessions where you get everyone in the room and track that this is making sense for your organization and you're reaching those PLS goals. So main point of this is not set it and forget it. You need to continuously iterate, learn, implement new things, try new things, and experiment. Next, we'll talk about setting up PQLs. So I have 3 kind of subpoints in setting up PQLs, or product qualified leads, which, as a reminder, are leads that have already engaged with your product and reached some aha moment or value out of the product. And there's a really high likelihood that they're ready to spend more and buy more and get more value out of your product. So first, it's really important that you level up your tech stack. You want to be able to have all the data in the right place so that you can easily identify, surface, automate those PQLs. Then you want to define PQLs, which is an iterative process as well. And then finally, you can operationalize them. So first, for leveling up your PLG tech stack, there's a lot here. There's a lot that goes into having this modern tech stack in the PLG world. Some that I'll throw out there, it's really important to have your data warehouse, to have all your data organized, especially around product usage. It's important to have your CRM like Salesforce or HubSpot to get all of that buyer information located in one place, as well as a data enrichment tool like Clearbit to make sure that you're getting all the information you can about your customers. And then, of course, a product-led sales platform like Pocus to bring this all together and give one cohesive view of the customer to be able to then experiment with PQLs and operationalize them. So what does it look like to actually define a PQL? At Pocus, we've defined our framework for PQLs to actually figure out what is the MVP initial hypothesis of what PQLs are in our business. And we think of these in 3 buckets. First is customer fit. So how closely does this account, this team, this user match your ideal customer profile? So things like industry, geography, company size, role and title, as well as product usage. So the user and account level behavior. You want to be looking at things like daily active users, frequency, recency they spend on the platform, time spent, the free to paid conversion, the number of invites sent. And then finally, buying intent. Are there any signals that they're ready to buy or spend more, or the product is going viral within an organization? So this can be things like pricing page visited, account velocity, they click, talk to sales. And so as a quick example for Slack, this is how we could imagine one of their many PQLs. They could be looking at customers in the tech industry in the US with this company size and this role, head of ops. Product usage. They might want to understand every time an account signs up that has over 100 daily active users, 2,000 messages sent. VP of Ops signed up and invited 35 people, and they spend a significant amount of day on their product. And then buying intent. Maybe the account that's signing up for Slack reached a feature limit. They visited the pricing page, they hit talk to sales, or they attended some webinars. This all indicates that the user is ready to maybe spend more, whether that's going from free to paid or expanding within an existing paid account. And so what you want to do is we recommend mapping out customer fit by product usage and thinking about this in 4 different buckets. So you'll see on the bottom left, we can keep this simple. If this account or team or user is not a customer fit, has not been engaged in your product, do not touch them, ever. If they are a high customer fit, low product usage, this is when you might need a little nudge. You might want to say, okay, why aren't they using the product? Are they reaching some blocker? How can I help them? On the bottom right, if they have high product usage and low customer fit, you might want to do some diligence there and figure out what's going on. Is there a new use case that you can experiment with? And then the top right, sales ready PQLs, your best customer fit, high product usage. This is where sales teams should be spending their time. And I'll mention that you want to keep these original PQL definitions simple and keep iterating and testing over time because you'll continuously get better, more accurate, and more. And then finally, after you identify and prioritize the PQLs in order of importance and make them visible to your sales team, you want to assign the PQLs to the right salesperson at the right time. And this could be round robin, this could be account owners based on things like industry and geography. And then you want to deliver insights on how users are engaging with the product so that sales reps can take the right action at the right time. So finally, or not finally, almost finally, we want to hire the product-led sales squad. So sales teams at product-led growth companies don't look like traditional sales. They're more data-driven, they're very customer-centric, and they're focused on adding value rather than selling on the value. And so what this looks like, very mature organizations will have various sales roles, such as a head of sales, an account executive, an SDR, sales assist team, which we'll talk about more in the next slide. What I'll say though, if you're starting out and just adding different sales rep, or you only have a couple sales reps to add to your organization to test this out, you want to really experiment with the type of sales rep based on your goals. So if you're really focused on qualifying the PQLs, maybe you want to add an SDR. Or if you really want to, you have a bunch of self-serve users that need help guiding them on their journey, maybe that's the sales assist role. So if you work backwards, think what are our goals for the sales organization? And then let's hire based on those goals. I'll also say that most companies find the best value out of hiring sales generalists, of folks that can do a little bit of everything, but they are data-driven, they are customer-centric, and they're really about consulting the user on their journey. And so what is this sales assist role that I just mentioned? You might have heard of it, maybe not, because it's fairly newer and emerging and growing really quickly. Other names for sales assist are product specialist, customer experience, onboarding specialist. And the role of this is they sit at the intersection of three different things. One is education and enablement. So how can we educate the user and enable them on their journey? Next is sales support. How do we help the user get to that next step of getting all the stakeholders aligned and going through the procurement process? And then feedback loops. So how can we learn from what we're learning from the sales team and what we're learning from the customers, and then funnel that information back to other teams like sales and product and growth? Finally, put your plan in action. So you'll want to create the internal playbook. So be really clear on handoffs and routing between self-serve and sales. So this is, I want to understand which of the accounts should remain in self-serve and which should be funneled to sales. And this will, start off a lot of the decisions you make in your organization around who owns what segment, how do we compensate. And you want to make sure that the self-serve business, the growth business, the product business, marketing is not ever cannibalizing the sales business. They're going to be separate areas of focus. And that goes into setting clear revenue expectation split. Who is going to own what are the quotas, how are you measuring success? You want to be disseminating information to the broader team. So once you learn about how things are going with your customers and the sales team, you want to make sure that this is always getting back to the rest of your PLG organization so you can continuously learn and improve. And you'll want to hold kickoffs and education sessions. So you'll want to understand, okay, you want to teach your sales reps how to be better at this product-led sales role, and always improve and learn and experiment with new things. So key takeaways, I know this was a lot of information. So if I had to distill this into 3 main takeaways, first would be don't overcomplicate this. Start really simple, especially with your PLG sales motion, your PQLs. Start simple with a clear hypothesis, and then you'll continuously learn and iterate. And that goes into my second point. Always ship, test, and iterate. This is not something that you're going to get right the first time. This is kind of a lifelong journey for your company. So you always want to be testing and experimenting. And then finally, be clear with expectations with leadership and with the sales team. So you're going to need your sales leadership and executive team on board for hiring a sales rep on top of your PLG motion. So everyone needs to level set and understand what goals are. So if you have any questions for me, I'd love to chat. You can follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn. That's my information. That's my email. If you want to also check out our blog, it's on pocus.com, as well as the Pocus product-led sales community. You can request an invite there on our website. Thank you for having me, and I hope you learned a little something today about product-led sales. So do we have time for questions?
Yes, we do. Thank you so much. This was awesome. We have a lot of questions. The first question is how you actually make the transition from the traditional sales motion to the product-led sales. One, however, I think this is two steps beyond. We need to start how to, to make, how to combine them, because you cannot use only the product. You cannot actually eliminate touch points. You cannot ignore the product. So how do you combine them and how do you make the transition? I think it's two in one.
Yeah. So this is a great question. And a lot of people will say, I'm at a traditional enterprise sales motion. How can you tell me that I don't get to do enterprise sales anymore? And really, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, how can we give enterprise sales teams superpowers in the form of data? How can we use product data of how their users are engaging with the product already to inform their enterprise sales strategy? So it's, you're always going to have quote unquote enterprise sales reps, but instead of those sales reps going after, a random target account list, it's about going after accounts that are already active in your product. So that's both from free trial or self-serve to the initial paid, or it's about, you already have a deal and you want to expand more. And then how to actually start from going to sales-led to product-led. The first thing I would do tactically is get the right folks in the room, from sales, marketing, product growth, etc., and say, what are our goals of this? And then map out that document I laid out around that one-pager strategy doc to say, okay, what are our goals? What are our metrics? How are we going to get there? And then from there, you're going to be able to start identifying PQLs and go through that PQL framework I said, and then continuously iterate. So tactically, if I were you and to ask that question, get the right folks in the room, set monthly, quarterly, weekly cadences to continuously iterate and test on those PQLs and the new product-led sales motion.
Okay, the next one comes from me, and it's a personal, bias, because I bleed user onboarding all over me. So my second question would be, okay, how you have sales, you have product-led sales, and you have product-led onboarding, which is a concept we introduced and we truly evangelize across the board. How do you actually inject product-led onboarding into sales? How you take the power of data, how take the power of in-app activations, in-app touch points, and actually deliver a strategy which combines the two. Where does it go? When do we insert it? How do we convince enterprise, to insert it, in the first steps, not when customer success goes there and educate end to end, but before and even after that, after the conversion?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it really gets into the whole value prop of product-led sales. The onboarding process should be all about adding value to customers, getting them to that aha moment as fast as possible. So when users are onboarding, there's a lot you can do. There's a lot of tools out there to improve that experience and optimize that experience. And you only want to inject a human or inject a sales rep when they need help or when they're not reaching that aha moment as soon as possible. So what we recommend is that sales teams should constantly be analyzing how users are currently going through their onboarding experience and only reaching out when they're stuck or when you think they could be getting more value. And so the reason I say this is I'm sure we've all been through those processes where we're onboarding onto a product and someone reaches out and you're just like, nope, don't want to talk to you. I just want to do this myself. But you also have been through those experiences where you're buying a product online and you're getting stuck and you're like, I really wish I had someone to guide me through this. So using data through that onboarding process to track those milestones and those aha moments, and then inject yourself if you see that they're getting stuck. Because your role as a salesperson in this onboarding experience is that they have the best experience and you're consultative and you're an advisor to them rather than a salesperson trying to push a sale. And I'll also mention, you, along with not wanting to add friction, you also never want to be pushing, we need to close this deal. This is the price. Like, let's keep going. We need to get everyone on the product and we have these revenue targets. It's really about adding value. And once that value is shown, the sale will happen.
Okay. The last one is actually, you talked a lot about PQLs and you talk a lot in general about PQLs, which is, the extension or the essence of product-led sales in many ways, not only them, but, they are the core of the concept. How would you convince an enterprise company to inject PQLs in their metrics, because I'm confident many enterprise organizations don't go there. So how would you achieve that? How would you convince them? Because it's part of the transition. The metrics and the KPIs are part of the transition even more than the transition itself. If you don't adopt them, you're never gonna, transform. So how do you go there?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the simple answer is that PQLs convert at a 5x rate than MQLs. And the reason is that MQLs, it's great because someone might have gone to your pricing page or attended a webinar or done something, but there's nothing more valuable than a user already on your product and seeing value. So being able to track that is very, very important and valuable, way more valuable than being able to just track a marketing metric.
Fantastic. And that would be it. We are 2 minutes before the next session. Alexa, we would like to thank you so much. We look forward to the next discussion. And to all of you out there, our next session is the Career in Tech panel. We're going to discuss the latest trends in tech and how that can affect your career development. Stay tuned. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.